What's up everyone, and welcome to another Bitcoin market update. In these videos you will learn how to use technical analysis to forecast price movements in your favorite cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and others, and also see where we are looking to buy and sell these crypto assets ourselves. So let's get into it here with Bitcoin on the monthly time frame. We have subsequently drew down significantly from our April all-time high of around 65K. We have drew down all the way down to about $29,100, and now we're currently trading at about 35K. This month we haven't had much price action, but the price action that we have had seems to have been relatively neutral. We haven't traded down significantly since the open or up significantly since the open. It's about equal in terms of how much we've traded up or down since the open. So not much to go off of there. If we look at the pivots indicator here, if we close this month below the R1 on the monthly time frame, this will end up being resistance for us once again on a retest of this level. But really what we're looking at is this R2 level, which is going to be the main, I would say, the resistance, because we're further away from it. This resistance level is probably going to be more significant than the R1 since we're so close to it. This one's up at about 46K. So if we close this month below 46K and we retest 46K in, let's call it July or August, that will end up being a strong resistance level for price, and it may suppress it where we will then form a lower high on the monthly time frame. Something to keep in mind. Let's look at the weekly time frame. So far on the weekly time frame, like we talked about yesterday, this kind of looks like a bear flag to me in terms of the price action that we're seeing over the last 2 weeks. It's been relatively sideways or slightly sloping up. And when you see that, what that is that's a sign for the bears that we might see continuation, because as you see with these long upper wicks of these two last weekly candles, people have been selling into the rise in price as we have appreciated off of this light blue level here. So the light blue support level is still our main support level that we're watching, but this is the level that if we go right through this zone and close two candlesticks below this on the weekly time frame, without bouncing off of it, which we have not bounced off of it yet, to form an actual low, this will end up being a strong resistance zone for price. So that's what I'm currently watching right now, is for either a break below this weekly candle's low at roughly 34,100, or a break of the high of that, which is up at 36,835. So we've had a lot of we've had less volatility over the last 2 weeks, not very significant price action in, not significant in terms of price volatility. So we're going to be seeing an expansion probably sometime this week, if not next week, because the more we tighten up on this lower term time frames, like the daily, for instance, the more significant that movement is going to be when we finally do end up either breaking down or breaking up. So you can see that we've just been forming lower highs and higher lows, but we haven't made a higher high or a lower low since back here in mid-May, when we made the lower low right here on the 16th. So this is significant in terms of how long we've been consolidating. If this breaks up, like I've been talking about, this I'll probably expect to move up here to about 47K. If we break down, I'll probably minimum will go down to the 29K level here, and then if not there, then our next main support level, besides this one here that's already been tested once, is this untested support level down here at about $24,300. So when you're reading price action on the daily time frame, like, how can you play this pattern if you're a Bitcoin trader? One of the ways you can play this is as a bull, and you're waiting to buy the dips like we just had right here. And so you're buying as soon as we form a daily low. And so because we had an inside bar here, your bid would be at the top of the wick for this daily candle right here. Because if we break the high of this candle, we know that the low has been set here. So subsequently, you'd be down right now if you were to try and use that strategy. Another way to play this is, and if you did do that, your stop loss would be below this low, because obviously you don't want to break that low. If you do, then clearly the pattern is breaking to the downside. If another way you can play this is the way that people currently are trying to play this, which is as a short opportunity. So you can go short on any rise in price, like this one right here, for instance, and put your stop loss, above the previous high. And so right here, if you were going short right here, you'd put your stop loss above here, and then you'd be targeting, probably this zone down here. Like I said, that's down at about $24,300. So right now, the bulls and the bears are battling it out they're jockeying for position here for either a lower high right here, which is likely for us to make a lower high because the previous high was up here at about 39,481. So for us to go from the low all the way up to a new local high for a higher high, that would be about 13%. So it's not likely that that'll happen. It's more likely we will set a lower high. But now if we do set a lower high, we're very close to our previous low. So for the bulls to form another higher low above this one is less likely than than for us to just go down for a lower low and then break this pattern to the downside. So that's something that we have to keep in mind. The closer we are to a higher or low, the more likely it is that we'll break that high or low. So let's go to the lower term time frames like the 4-hour and see what we're working with here. So on the 4-hour time frame, we have just a lot of chop here, but you can see the level that I talked about yesterday and the day before has held once again, very similar to this setup up here. We had this rejection here for a nice 8% trade. This trade as well has gone well so far. Also, you can see that if we were to enter on the body of the candle right here and take it to where the price currently is, that's about a 3.3% trade on spot already, with obviously more profit potential the farther we go down in price. This is a very simple trade. I've talked about trades like this before on this channel. It's really just where you have a trend change. Here you can see we have a bull trend. This last candle right here before this down move, very significant in its price action because this is where people were selling their Bitcoin. They should have been buying it back here when we saw the established bull trend, but they didn't, and we pushed right through it. So when we retest this zone, it is resistance. You can see that we tested it here, and then we also tested it again here, and now we rejected off of it. So now it's up to the bulls to try and change this trend back to the bulls' favor. So now that we've tested this zone, we've tested this zone, these are weaker zones. We can potentially push through them now if we go back up. But right now, it's going to be difficult for Bitcoin to do so just because the momentum on all these time frames is to the downside. If we look at the trend following indicators like the super guppy here, for instance, which is just a collection of exponential moving averages, you can see that this is suppressing price as well. Every time we stab into it, we reject. And we haven't even touched the red EMAs yet here, which are the longer term EMAs. So that's something to keep in mind as well. If we look at the 4-hour time frame, you can see that we just recently, we did have a chance here, right here with the EMAs flipping back to being gray, but then you can see that we drew down once again, and now the EMAs flipped back to being dark blue and red. And you can see that this trade, and this is what you look for as a trader, This trade right here, this entry on this gray level, was confluent with the red lines right here, these EMAs that are signaling a sell signal because they're in this position. They're above the shorter term EMAs. So the momentum is to the downside. You can see that with our entry here and then subsequent drawdown in price. So now it's just a matter of, will the bulls be able to form a higher low and then subsequently push up for a higher high? We will see in the coming days, but that's all I got for this one, guys. If you like this video, give it a like down below and subscribe for future educational content around cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. And if you haven't already, check out our beginner technical analysis course that we have on Leutheria.com, where you can learn all of the fundamental elements that you need to get started generating consistent profits, trading cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others. And you can get 20% off that course by using the link in the description below. And until tomorrow, folks, onward and upward.